Alright, so welcome back to the Stormworks Basics career playthrough. So last video we worked on our stability system. We got that going. It's worked pretty well. We went the PID route, which I knew we were going to get there eventually. So we went to PID. Um, I made a save of this. Part 4 for the last video was video 4. So if you need or if you want to follow along, you can download that on the workshop. That will be linked in the videos. I'm just cleaning up here. We're not using this function block anymore, so I'll delete that. Let me make sure that was the right one. Yep, that was the right one. All right, so I talked about in the last video, we're going to add an anti-fly system. So what is that all about? So in real life, when you're driving a boat, as you're coming up to a big wave, you're not going to go shooting over it like a ramp in a motorcycle, right? You're going to want to reduce your throttle, gently go over the wave. Then when you hit in the trough and you have a nice, gentle, flat area, you gun that throttle, you get going up speed again, you come up to the wave, you reduce it, go over. That's how you handle swells IRL. So we can kind of do that in game here. So let's see. So we're going to do that with the rear altimeter. So what I'm going to do here is I want to see what the altitude is for when these props come out of the water. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another dial. What's this dial reading? This dial reads battery. Okay, so let's use this dial here. So let's grab an altimeter here, and let's put an altimeter at the level of the props. So really simply, all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it right here. Okay, so I have an altimeter at the level of the props. I'm going to read just one of them. I just have symmetry on. All right, and so we have the altimeter here, which is, I just have an altimeter sitting there. I'm sorry, sitting right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the difference between these two. And actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make a, why not? Let's make a, why I keep forgetting to click on it. Okay. Let's make a microcontroller that does it for us, because why not? I could do an add block, but I'll just make my own microcontroller. So I need 3 right there. Let's spread them out. This is going to read top alt. This is going to read prop alt. This is going to give us out our value. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly come in here. So it's going to be the top alt plus the bottom alt should give us our value between. I'm going to take top alt, read that. I'm going to take the bottom alt, I'm going to read that. I'm going to read it out to, we'll do this dial here, we'll spawn it in. I have wind on, which I need to shut off because I need stable flat craft. Let's let that behave itself for a second here. All right, let me make sure that my water line is good all the way around. It looks as though it is. Bow's sunk in a little bit. I don't know why the bow is sunk in. But anyways, all we really need to worry about right now is make sure the stern is at the right height, which it is. Okay, back into space. All right, let's read this dial. Okay, so so the props are 1 meter below, there. So what we need to do is we need to subtract a meter from here. So the reason I'm doing that is I want to keep this altimeter. I don't want to use these. And so I actually deleted, no, I didn't delete a block I need. Okay. So I'm going to delete a meter off of there. So I know I'm making it more complicated than I probably have to, but so it's a meter difference. So there's a meter between them. So if this altimeter reads 2 meters, so let me actually read this really quick, see where I need to also index it to where I want it. So let me read this really quick. I need to read this really quick. So that's at negative 0.15. Props are at -1. so we'll still say we want the stern to stay -1 in the water. So we'd say if that altimeter read, we'll say if this altimeter reads 1 meter, we want to zero our thrust. All right, I know I'm making this seem more complicated than it probably is. And so we have a node already. We have an extra node, that P there. Let's change that to stern alt. Okay. Okay, stern alt here. Let's go to here. We have a idle function. So essentially, we want to bring the throttle to idle if the stern altimeter reads, let me see what it would be. If it reads 1 meter. If this stern altimeter reads greater than 1 meter, we want to idle the engine. It will automatically unidle it when the stern goes back in the water. So, stern altimeter, if the stern altimeter is greater than 1 meter, I'll put a constant number of 1 for 1 meter. If that reads greater than 1 meter, we want to idle. So now we already have a couple idle conditions. We already have one. So 3 causes us to idle our thrust. So all we need to do is an OR. So if we press 3 OR, this goes off. So we're going to go to there, to there, to there, and just to make it look pretty, I'm going to move it over there. Okay, and I'll move that up so it looks pretty. Okay, so now that's going to cause it that if our stern altimeter reads greater than 1 meter, we're going to idle our thrust so that we don't fly. So this is our anti-fly system. So that's pretty simple. So let's update it. Let's plug that stern altimeter in here. And let's go for a run at, let's go to 50. We'll try to keep our numbers the same. And then we'll go to 75. We'll try going to 100. This is going to be your best way to not fly during high winds, is to do an automatic thrust reduction. I'm curious why that bow is in the water a little bit more than it should. Might just be me adding weight to it, but it functions well now. Okay, here the engine shut down. It idled it. Okay, so we don't want it full idle. That's going to be too much. So there's another way to do this too. Okay, so idle is too much. So what we want to do is, let me see. All right, so idling the engine out is too much. That's going to cause us too much of a... So let's see. What we can do is this. We can reduce it. I'm trying to think the best way. Yeah, so we'll put an automatic reduction on there. Let me actually get that OR back. So instead of doing it with an idle, we'll do it with a throttle reduction. And then we'll go like this. So this will just reduce our throttle automatically to match where it needs to be, instead of completely idling the engine. It will just pull our throttle back for us. Let's watch the third person. We can get a better idea of what's going on. All right, so I'm at full thrust here. There we go, full thrust. Okay, so it reduced our thrust for a second there. Okay, so that's doing too much. Okay. All right, so we need to do a different system. I'm trying to remember what I've done before. Okay, let's get in there. So what it's doing, the problem it's doing here is it's reducing our throttle until that comes back in the water, and then it's so let's see how I want to do this. Let me update really quick. Update this microcontroller. We'll save this as video 5. And then I'm going to load in a boat that I've already done this on so that I don't have to, as you're watching, reinvent the wheel. I can look at a wheel I've already invented. So let's run this boat really quick and show you how this one works. So this is my center console here. Let me try to remember how to do everything. Engine 1 and 2 start stop. Master power. Generators on. Okay. Alright, so see how the RPM's automatically diving? This has a full anti-fly stability system on it. Now watch how this boat performs. See how it automatically will reduce the throttle? It's not, it's not perfect, but as you can see, it lets the throttle come back in. And see how it can go super fast still, even in these heavy waves. I want to go straight against the waves though. Okay, see how it almost cuts the throttle when it flies, and it keeps it from flying. Alright. So this is the kind of system I want. When it flies, I want it to stop, and let's show how and what this looks like. And 100% wind. So 100% wind is pretty much useless just because, you can do 100% wind in a large boat, but 100% wind in pretty much anything smaller is just going to cause flying. So, I shouldn't even really care about 100% wind. If I can work in 75 with small boats, we're good. Even 50%. So you see, this even has fin stability, so it won't roll. So I'd say let's stop trying to screw around with too high of a wind. Let's do 50. This is a beginner series on a beginner boat. I don't think we really need to be worrying about 75, 100% wind. If we even let's look at the map real quick. Let's go to where's wind? Wind. Generally, you're going to have your heaviest wind up in the Arctic. We tend to have light wind, especially around our islands here. We might get into a little bit, but we're not going to get the higher winds, so I don't need to over-engineer this. But this system is working how I want it. As you can see, it's letting it cut the throttle, but also come back. So let me take this to Workbench and see what this system is, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel again. Okay. Let me try to find it. So the easiest way to find it is go from my fins to here. Roll stability. Okay, speed. Okay. It should be on the engine. It should not be in the fins. So let's see. That's my engine controller. Okay, let's look. Here's anti-fly right here. Okay, anti-fly on off. The input signal to be processed. Okay, so what am I doing here? So here is my throttle. My throttle's coming up. It is going to a numerical switch box and clamping it at the throttle which best handles the waves. Okay, so perfect. So all I need to do is anti-fly will switch through a numerical switch box. That is much better. Okay, let me see. Does that work there? That works. That works. Okay, yeah. So that's all I want to do. Anti-fly. Now let me just look where my anti-fly button comes from. Anti-fly. So what is the anti-fly comes off of? So the anti-fly. Oh, where's anti-fly? Anti-fly goes to here. So that's foils, bows, stern alt, bow alt, stern alt. So I'm assuming it's coming off the stern alt. So let me look at this. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have our desired depth. Where's find anti-fly? Okay, anti-fly. So if the stern altimeter is greater than 0, or it's probably the bow altimeter, I imagine. The bow altimeter is greater than 0, activate anti-fly. Okay, so that's pretty simple. So let's do that in our boat, and then we'll call it a video. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to think if I want to move these altimeters. I want these at the water line. Yeah, I want these at the water line. So yeah, these are at the water line, so 0 should work fine. All right, so let's go into our engine. Let's add the anti-fly logic. Again, you know, like I said, I forget my own stuff quite often here. So, all right, so let's get rid of this. Let's hook this back up there. Okay, so what do we want to do? So at the numerical switch box that goes in here, where we have this, so we go from, we could do this at a clamp on a numerical switch box. Let's put that there. Let's go numerical switch box. Let's go, we'll read that number through. All right, we will send that to the PID. Now we want to see what our max, so I think what was I doing? I was doing an RPS of about 7, and that was really nice. So let's go 7. So that'll give me an RPS of 7. And then I want to activate the anti-fly, so when the stern altimeter is greater than 0, let's go activate that numerical switch box. Let's see if this runs properly. Okay, let's stay at 50% wind. I've given up on the higher winds, not because they're not achievable, but because they're not realistic. You wouldn't be bringing out a small boat. Let me see. Okay, let's get going here. All right, so it should function like that other boat. Alright, so what it's doing here is it's cutting out too early. So I need to increase that number. Okay, so 0 is too much, so let's see. So let's try a meter. Let's do a meter, see what that looks like. So what I'm actually going to do here too is I'm going to add a property value so I can more easily change this. So if stern altitude is greater than, let's do property. Let's do a property number. This way I can change it easily. So that is stern alt anti-fly. Let's change that number to 1 meter. So now if the stern altimeter reads greater than a meter, it will limit our RPS to 7 for an instant to allow us to crest the wave successfully, and then it will automatically let us throttle back up. Okay. Let's do 6. There we go. So as you can see, we start to fly. It cuts out the throttle as the props come out of the water. Alright, we actually haven't had it cut out again on us. There we go. See, this is nice too because when we have these smaller waves, we don't get a cutout. See, as you can see, we're not cutting out now. When we hit a big wave, we're going to get our cutout. See, that didn't cut out, this is going to cut. There we go. So this functions like a real boat now. You know, we need to work around some of StormWorks' unrealistic physics issues, like, you know, a boat essentially weighing nothing. You know, a real boat, gravity is going to pull it right back down as it goes over the ramp of the wave. This simulates that. So this is how we simulate that system. So now we have a couple stability systems here, and we'll end this in a second. We have our fins, they're PID controlled. We have our anti-fly for when we have heavy waves. This allows us to keep our thrust at maximum, and it will automatically dip it down when we don't need it at maximum. All right, so as you can see, so there we go. We're set to 11 RPS. We hit a big wave. You'll notice it instantly see it dropped it back down, and then it let it go back up as we crest the wave. So this lets the boat act more realistically. So we have a nice stability system here. Let's try even heavier winds. Again, 50 is going to be our benchmark. If it works higher, great. If not, I'm not going to worry about that. So as you can see, yeah, see, we get unrealistic flying. Gravity stops taking effect. But the system keeps us stable. As you can see, we can jump these waves. It will automatically reduce our RPS. And it causes us not to, do any backflips or anything strange. All right, so perfect. So this system's working well. I think we've got our stability system in a really good area. I'm not even going to worry about roll stability because, this boat's just really stable in the roll regime. We might have issues if I start putting a cabin on this because the center of gravity will start moving up. But we have a lot of weight blocks we can work with, so we'll see. So we'll end the video there. I'll post this, the link to our currently completed creation with the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.